Welcome to Basecamp Blue Sky.
I'm Natalie.
And I'm Brian.
And today we're going to give you a tour through the base camp.
It's time, so let's get to it. Welcome to our Dynamax RV tour. Our rig is a 2017 Dynamax DX3. It's model 36FK. This is a Freightliner M2 106 chassis. The 106 is the distance from the bumper to the back edge of the door, so the cab. We have twin saddle fuel tanks, 50 gallons each. Here's the kitchen slide. It's a 18-inch kitchen slide. And let's check out some of these bays here. Here's a bay. Here's a chair. If you can reach or see in here, it has a little bit of top pass-through. So we could fit some tables in here. We could fit our rug in here. Some of our longer items will fit in there. Another storage bay that has this upper pass-through that we fit stuff in. And here's our big storage bay. This is where I fit most of my cooking devices, and it has good upper cabinet or upper storage area for thin things, tables and chairs. The reason that there aren't full pass-throughs is because the engine's in the front and the drive shaft passes through to the rear wheels, and you can't have a cabinet going through a drive shaft. Also on this side is we have a TV cabinet that we rarely ever use, but we do have an electric awning that we use all the time. And one of the fun features of this electric awning is that it has a wind sensor, and I think I can make that work. If this awning moves too much, it'll automatically come in. How about that? I think that's pretty fancy. Kind of dirty.
We're using it.
So we have an AquaHot 400D, which is diesel. And this supplies all of our hot water for our showers and washing dishes and such, but it also is part of our hydronic heat system. Whenever one of the thermostats calls for heat, it supplies the hot water for the heat for the internal registers. One of the interesting features of the AquaHot being in this location is it's right underneath our gray and black tanks. And so, again, in the winter, when we require some hot water and some heat on the inside of the cabin, this warms up this bay and supplies indirect heat to keeping our gray and black tank from freezing. Our last bay on the passenger side here is another storage unit, and this one is behind the rear drive shaft. This is where we store all of our wood for leveling out this RV. Even though it has a hydraulic leveling system, there are places that we go to that this system can't level out. It's just, even at this spot here, we had to roll onto our second block of our ramps just to get it to be level, because it's so unlevel of a camp spot. So I've taken a pool noodle and cut a slot in it for putting up here under the corner of this particular slide, because it's so close to the back And I have a habit of coming around the back of the RV and forgetting there's a slide there and whack into my head. So that's an important mod right here. One of the best features of having a Super C, or this rig in particular, is this is a 20,000 pound hitch. Right there, 20,000 pound hitch. So this is a class 5 hitch mechanism, and that's the biggest hitch you can possibly get, unless you get to a Motorhome or some other semi-based RV. We have a nice rear window, which we'll show off when we do the interior. Not too many RVs of this class have this big of a rear window. This cabinet has one of the oddest features of this coach. It's a propane tank that's not hooked to anything. I've basically taken the propane tank and plugged in my Blackstone griddle to it, and that's it. So why was this built this way? I have no idea. But this is what we've got, and this is how I'm using it. Okay, this is our wet bay. This is where our black tank and gray tank drain through our macerator pump. So we have a macerator pump. We got a switch here that we can turn on whenever we do drain the black tank. And it macerates it through this smaller hose. It can even send it uphill. So I love the macerator tank. But the other important feature is this is directly across the other side is the aqua hot heater. And here's the other side of our black and gray tanks. And so that heat from that aqua hot heater actually fills this cabinet as well. So that's the secondary function of having that aqua hot in its location over there, is it helps keep this whole water area from freezing in the winter. We've got a real city connection for our fresh water. We've got a freshwater filter right here. We've got a hot and cold water spigot that we can use. We used it to wash the dog. We've got a black tank flush. I use it every time to flush the black tank. And this is where we fill the fresh tank. We have a 100-gallon fresh tank right here underneath the cabinet, or inside the cabinet inside the bedroom. So that's what we have. We have two 55 gallons. We have a 55-gallon gray tank, a 55-gallon black tank, and we have a 100-gallon fresh tank. And that's our capacities for this RV. The next cabinet on this side is our generator. This is a quiet owning RV diesel 8000 generator. And it's a dirty mess. Our hydraulic system for the jacks, that's the container holding the hydraulic fluid for our leveling jacks. And I can't keep it clean. It's a dirty mess. So I think it leaks out of this vent or this drain plug or the fill plug, and it just makes this whole cabinet a mess, unfortunately. Next cabinet up here is our electrical cabinet. This is where our cord reel is anyway, for plugging in our 50 amp service cord. I use it for my toolbox. It has a pass through to the other side up there, but we rarely ever put anything up in this pass through to the other side. Next cabinet up is our electrical battery box. In this cabinet here, we have both of our Battleborn game changer batteries in it. We've got two Battleborn game changers in here, and that's what the chassis, that's what the house runs off of. And then the diesel chassis runs off of two diesel 12-volt batteries. We'll get to the inverter when we get to the inverter. The other cool thing is we have an air chuck in here. You can see this air chuck. You probably can't see it. The air chuck runs off of the air system because we have air brakes and airbags holding up the rear suspension. And this is what I can air up my tires with. The cold pressures on these tires is 110 psi. So it takes quite a bit of air, but the diesel engine generates all that air. So we have the ability to air up our tires with the diesel engine running. The last cabinet is our electrical cabinet. And this is where all the wires come in and out of. We've got a Xantrex 3000 inverter, natural sine wave. That's supplying electricity from the game changer batteries whenever we're unplugged. We are currently plugged in, so the game changers aren't working, but whenever we're boondocking, we can get good 3 or 4 days out of those batteries before we need to charge them. This is a ginormous slide on this side, and this is our map where this RV has been. So we've been to quite a few places. We just went to New Mexico. How come we don't have New Mexico on there? Oh, we didn't spend a night in New Mexico. And this RV, we just started putting stickers up from all the national parks that we've been to, so we don't have it very well populated, but we're hoping to get a couple more here at the end of this trip. So here's our other saddle tank for the diesel fuel on this side. We've got a 7-gallon DEF tank, and we've got a block heater port that we can plug in the block to keep the block warm in the winter. Let's take a quick look at the engine. This is probably the best feature of this rig, or a Super C in general, is the fact that you can access anything on this engine with just the lift of 2 little brackets and pulling the hood open. But this is a Cummins ISL 8.9 liter engine mated to an Allison 6-speed transmission. The engine generates 350 horsepower and almost 1,000 foot-pounds of torque. All the fluids are easily accessible. Here's our power steering. Here's our filters. Here's our oil. The other side has fluid for the windshield washer and the radiator fluid. Anyway, this is one of the best reasons I like it, is because you can access this darn beast of an engine.
Now it's time to show you the inside of this rig.
And let's start up front in the cockpit area. This here is a Freightliner cockpit, pretty standard Freightliner M2 chassis cockpit. I bet you it was designed somewhere around 1990 because it's really basic. It doesn't have any frills of any sort as far as computers or screens or colors or anything like that. But nonetheless, this is very comfortable. It drives extremely well. Right now I'm a little bit low in the seat because there's no air in it. We've been sitting for a day or two and it bleeds out, but the seat's an air ride seat. The sitting position is kind of upright, but it does have 2 side doors just like a regular pickup truck, and the outward appearance is very good. We have very good visibility frontward and sideways. But other than that, it's basic. It's got an Allison transmission. That's been in, golly, from military equipment to fire trucks. It's the same transmission, the same interface here on the dash. The front display here is pretty basic. It doesn't have anything too fancy. Our radio has a rear view camera, and whenever you turn a blinker on, the side cameras show, so it's kind of smart in that regard. But what I've got set up here is I have a tablet, an iPad tablet, and so we've been able to mark all of our spots. We mark all of anything interesting we see when we are driving, rest stops. So that's been very handy. We use that a lot. I've got an RV Garmin here that has got our dimensions and our weights of this camper in it, so that it tells me if I can't make it through a tunnel or if I'm too heavy to go across a bridge, and it'll route me another way. And that's been pretty handy. We really rely on it to prove that we can go certain places. We've got a tire minder display here that we have all of our tires on this RV censored. Our toad is censored as well, and so I can see all of the tire pressures and temperatures all the time. But other than that, this is a pretty comfortable seat. We do travel quite a few miles in this thing, and that was one of the requirements for our current RV, was that it was good to drive. And for the most part, this thing is pretty good to drive. Let me talk a little bit about my repurposed caution sign here. This is an old caution sign for when you had an antenna that goes on top of your roof that you lift up with a little crank handle. And we attached it to the crank handle so that you don't forget to drive off and your antenna is sticking straight up about 3 feet. So it's a caution sign that I've repurposed here for our jacks. It's not intuitive for me, even with a checklist, to always remember to pick up the jacks. It's just something that's kind of new. It's the way it is. So I've put this caution antenna on the brake handle here so that it reminds me not to release the parking brake until I have put the jacks up and stowed them away. It's worked pretty good so far. I haven't driven off with the jacks down, which you can't. But what happens is it alarms out if you try to drive off with the jacks down, and it'll automatically raise the jacks up, but you have just wasted maybe 4 or 5 minutes waiting on that because you were ready to go, and then all of a sudden you can't because your jacks are down. So this repurposed antenna has really helped, and it's one of those little tricks that we use to keep us safe and just so we don't break stuff stupidly. The other things we've got up in here is we've got a couple cubbies that we put various things, sunglasses and things. We got a CB antenna. I don't have the microphone hanging down right now, but we do have a CB antenna. And above me we have cabinets. We store maps, documents for the RV, just certain things. They're kind of thin, so that's kind of a good place for us to put maps. And then right above my head, I've got a little bit bigger cubby. That used to be where all the DVD players were, but now we put all of the communication stuff. There's a couple outlets up there. It's where I charge a lot of things. So that's a good cubby to hide all of the batteries and such that we use. Just behind the driver's seat here is our electrical panel, so to speak. It's got our inverter, Xantrex control. It's got our AquaHot control. It's got our tank levels. It's got our water pump. And it's got our slide controls for the 2 main cabin slides, as well as a generator start. One of the front air conditioners is here. And then in this cabinet down here, which is basically empty, it has our solar controller. And then we've got another automatic generator starter down here that we could set up to utilize some of the automatic features of it. We just haven't never used it, so I hardly ever do anything with that. Doggy. Can't see the doggy. Above the passenger is a 42-inch smart TV. It just barely fits. It used to have a 37-inch TV, but they don't make 37s hardly anymore, so we had to squeeze in a 42. But it works, it fits. We've also got our awning controls here. More importantly, we've got our Verizon Wi-Fi device. It's a whole home Wi-Fi that hooks up to the cellular network wherever we are. And for the most part, if we can get 2 cellular bars or better, we get pretty good Wi-Fi with this thing. We're pretty happy with it. Believe it, with all the boondocking we've been doing, there's been very few places that we don't have enough cell service to run the Wi-Fi here. And then the dog dish. This is the dog's dish corner here. It's kind of a non-used section of the camper.
Next up, we'll go over the main living space. Now on this coach, it has opposable slides. There's a big one on this side and a smaller one on this side. But when these 2 slides go out, there is all kinds of floor space going on in this rig. First of all, here we have our reclining theater seats that are very comfortable to watch TV across the way. And above that, we have one cabinet that we use as pantry space, and the other cabinet we use for our office supplies and files and that sort of stuff. Here in our dining area, our booth seating, we have storage under each bench, and this table does go down to make another bed for our guests.
I mean, the doggy keeps all of her toys underneath the table.
On work days, this dinette also serves as our office space. Computer there, and this TV tray serves as extra places to put down our file folders, working documents, that sort of stuff. And up here, this whiteboard we have started. It has every place we've been to so far this year, and we think it's really fun. We can't wait to fill it up with more places that we're going to go to this year. Stay tuned. When we're stationary, first of all, this is our little broom closet area. You know, just the screens for the front shades, for the front windows. We have our umbrellas, the brooms. It's all very handy. Where else do you put it? Next to that, we have our first of 2 pantries. They're a little narrow, but they all have really nice pull-out drawers. And we can actually store quite a bit of things in both of these. The first one's here, the other one's across the way. Nice cabinet. Then we have our residential style refrigerator. We can fit a lot of stuff in here, so we love it. It's got an ice maker. We like our ice. Above it, we have baskets. These are kind of like our junk drawers. Some tools and some koozies and duct tape and things like that in these. So it's kind of handy to store them up here. They don't move while we're underway, which is also very nice. Okay, next to our refrigerator, we have our main kitchen area, solid surface countertop, electric cooktop, not induction, but it is electric. 2 burners. We installed this paper towel holder. It's in a great location, easy to get to. We have drawers. One of my big things was being able to have silverware in a drawer at the ready at any time. We have some kitchen gadgets here, but we have this other container with kitchen gadgets. And when it's on this silicone pot holder, it does not move while we're underway. So we've never had this tip over during a drive day, which is very good. Our knives, we installed a knife holder, and it really does help keep the knives steady so they don't move during our drive days. And this convection microwave oven, we're getting used to the convection. We've made biscuits, pizzas, cookies. We've done things like this in there. It's just a matter of getting used to it, and we are. We like the amount of counter space we have, the double sinks. We have room in here to even keep a trash can, which is really handy to keep it out of the way and safe during drive days. Also under the sink, we installed a divider holder to hold all of our cutting boards and other things that we need on a day-to-day basis, and it keeps them all pretty organized and safe for travel days. So in this kitchen, we find we have a good amount of storage above here and underneath the sink and in our drawers. Like we have a nesting pots and pans set and some other baking utensils. We have a lot of appliances and other things we use for cooking day to day, and we're very happy with how much storage we have here. Right across from the sink and kitchen prep area, we have our second little pantry with all of our pull-out drawers. One of the things we didn't know we wanted, but something we really love, is right here in the hallway. We have a washer and dryer unit that we use a lot more than we thought we would, and love how it works. It's kind of small, but it's certainly getting the job done.
All right, as we work our way towards the back of the coach, we're in the bathroom areas, kind of right here in the hallway. The laundry room closet's right here. Our main bathroom sink is right here. And I put on a new faucet a little while ago, and we really like it. And in fact, we like it so much, we're probably going to replace the faucet in the kitchen sink to match it. It's just a little bit taller, a little bit more modern, a little bit better looking than the old one. And the sink faucet's beginning to leak just a little bit, so we're probably close to needing to change it out too. We've got really good storage behind in our medicine cabinet behind these mirrors. It's a little bit cluttered, but we got lots of stuff in there. And then the toilet room, shower room is right behind us. Ooh, look how bright that is. And this is probably one of the best showers I've ever had in an RV. I really like it. And the toilet isn't too bad either. It's just a regular toilet. We do have that macerator system on the outside, and so this is just a regular RV toilet. I should note that we also have under sink storage, and it's got more chemicals, and we've got 3 drawers with stuff in it. So again, this bathroom is pretty well storaged. All right, we're now in the bedroom area, and this is a little bedroom slide. So this RV king bed slides out and gives us walking room around it to get to the closet area. The closet consists of one hanging and storage side, and I built a little shelf here to be able to put all of our bins in, as we put everything in bins, and that seems to be really handy. I'd almost like to put another shelf here so I can put another bin higher, because I very rarely ever have anything hanging on this side of the closet. Natalie's closet is very similar. We have this cool little cubby right here. It used to house the television's surround sound speaker. Well, we rarely ever use the television back here, but it works really good for just putting in our quick little ditty bag stuff. And this television has a huge cabinet behind it that we stuff all of our extra towels and linens. This is begging for another shelf and bin situation, and that's something that we got to work on, because it's kind of a mess, but it's a huge amount of storage room behind the television. And then we also have storage above our beds, and those are packed with hats and other sundry things that we use rarely, like when our son Ian comes. His sleeping bag is up there, his pillow is up there. We also have underbed storage, and it's quite heavy, so I'm not going to lift it, but we have most of underneath this bed as storage. Where the problem, or what we don't have, is we don't have any storage underneath this cabinet here, because this is where our water tank is stored, our freshwater water tank. It's 100 gallons and it's stored right here, so we can't put any cabinets or any drawers or anything there. Each side of the bed has an electrical outlet and a little shelf, so this actually works pretty good, couple of windows on each side, and then we have a really big back window here to let in light during the day.
There you have it. There's our DX3 36FK. And if there's anything we might have missed during our tour that you wanted to see, or if you have any questions on something we've done to our DX3, go ahead and give us a question or comment down below and we'll get back to you.
There's a couple of maintenance things coming up that we've got to do before we start our traveling season. So next week, we're gonna start getting ready.
Because we're ready to go travel.
Because we're ready to go. See you next time.
Bye.